Hi everyone, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening, and I apologize for the really long length of this video. I will be putting time-coded links in the entire video so that you can jump to different parts and sections, so you can look at the YouTube description if you don't want to sit through the whole thing and want to jump to a particular area to help you guys out. And if you do sit through the whole thing, you get a gold star, because I know 38 minutes for most people is long for a YouTube video, but I think it's pretty good information. All right. Have a great day, everyone. And I wanted to show you something I've been working on. So one of the things that happens a lot is I get a lot of comments in the comment section and messages and emails from people who are looking for certain things that they see in my videos. So I wanted to show you a few things that I have added to make this a little bit easier for everybody. So if you come up straight over top of my intro video, you'll see there's a section that says alxsharpen.com and 4 more links. So let's click on the alxsharpen.com part on the left hand side, and that will bring you to my website. So what I added on my website, now this is my website that my sharpening customers typically go to. So if you're interested in building a sharpening business, you might want to take a look around and take a look at my website to see how I do things. But up top here on the different links, so I have a price page, drop-off info, and hours of operation. As I mentioned before, I do laser engraving. Then I have a recommended product section, which is a lot of times customers come in the shop and they ask me things about maintaining their knives and things like that. So I have that recommended product section, which is really for them. But what I just added was this over here, and it says for sharpeners. And this is for all of you out there that are interested in sharpening. You can click here, and rather than having to go into the YouTube video that I put out and look through links or have to go back and try and find stuff, because I know how annoying that is sometimes, even for me, when I've seen something and then I'm like, oh, I saw something on Stumpy Nubs or this, that, some cool tool I want to go back and find it. It can be a pain to find it. So what I did is I have started a section on my website with all the major stuff that I use in my shop or have used or do recommend. This is what we're looking at here. So here we got the tools I use in my shop. So up top here, this is the Toolker 1x30, which I've done several video reviews on, and I absolutely love it. It is fantastic. The next to it is my Torx T8. Also, one of probably the greatest sharpener in the world. Not only do I own one, I own 3 of them. And then we have our Harbor Freight Express over here, which is, this is Electronic Express, but if you go to Harbor Freight, you'll see exactly the same thing under a different name. There's several people that sell this, and typical of a lot of things from China, you'll see different names on them, but it's absolutely the exact same thing. And then to the right of that, I have my buck tool 2x42 that I use, and I've done videos on how I converted that. So I've converted this, the 1x30 to variable speed. I converted my buck tool to variable speed. And on my YouTube channel, I have videos that show all of those things and how I did them. The Toolker, the nice thing, I didn't have to convert anything, but I have done some videos on how I made an angle guide for that. And so let's continue to scroll down. So right here, I have a Work Sharp Ken Onion Elite sharpener, which I have in my shop. I have a Wicked Edge Gen 3 Pro, which was the very first sharpening system I ever got. A TS Prof over here, which is another fantastic sharpening system. That was the first one that I ever used before I even bought my own. I borrowed a friend of mine's TS Prof, and it is a fantastic sharpener. And then over here, I also included the Lansky. Even though I don't own a Lansky, I have used a Lansky before, and a lot of the guys in the guild will start off with a Lansky style sharpener. They're very affordable, but they're very good sharpener. So that's why I put that one in here. But all these others I've used, and this I just know is used a lot. And this section here is really for not my recommendation for professional sharpening if you're going to do a business, but if you're a guy who wants to sharpen his own knives, and that's kind of it. These are where I think you should kind of fall into this category here. But the one nice thing with the Work Sharp, I can tell you, I love that I still have a Work Sharp Canyon Elite in my shop, because there's plenty of times that I do grab this, and I just used it this week doing some things that this thing is made really, really well to do. So let's continue to scroll down. So over here is a twice as sharp. This is the scissor sharpener I use. Over here is a Fordham tool. I actually have two Fordham tools, but this is one of the main Fordham tools that people buy when they're starting out. I have a Dremel here. I have actually 3 Dremels in the shop. These are little wedge angle guys. I just recently did a video on these things, and I love them. Oh man, do I love these things. They are so great for setting 1x30s like the Tulker up top and the Harbor Freight style angle guides really fast. Now, I'm going to continue scrolling down here. Here are the motors that I use for converting the Harbor Freight style 1x30s to variable speed. Over here we got some Wiha Stuby tools. If you ever have to work on EDC knives, you want to have Wiha Stuby tools. And not only that, you might even want 2 of them, because many EDC knives have the same type of like star tips on both sides of the knife, and you need more than one to get certain things off. So I have both of these, and I love both. So this is a whole set, and this part, this whole thing can be used as a screwdriver also, because it's got a place to stick this into, and it has a complete full set of the metric size. And then this is a little stubby, which is just awesome, and I use that all the time. So as we continue to scroll down, then we get into safety gear. Here is the downdraft table. At least once every couple weeks, someone asks me about the table they see my stuff sitting on, my 1x30s. This gets connected up to a ventilation dust collection system, and it does a real nice job of pulling the metal dust down onto the direction of the table, so not so much of it's flying around in the air. This is a Wen air cleaner, which is in the middle of my shop. I do have a video on that. This is a Uvex Bionic face shield. Use this all the time. I love it. This is my favorite 3M mask. I have a couple of them, but this one has a quick release in the front, which is great, especially when customers come in. I can drop it down and talk to them. This is the jet dust collecting system that I have, and I like upgrading them. So this is what I did. So you can see this comes with a 30 micron bag, which is fine if you're doing like woodworking. Even there, fine, you know, like I want to make sure I'm catching more dust and metal dust. So next to it, you'll see a 1 micron filter upgrade bag. And that's what I did to mine. I upgraded the filter and put a different one on there. And this one runs about $400. A 2 micron jet, just to give you an idea, if you were to get this with a 2 micron filtration system, gets extremely expensive. One of them is like $2,000. Now it's even way more sophisticated than this system here, but you don't need anything too crazy. This will work, but I do recommend upgrading the bag. Over here is my shop vac. I love my DeWalt shop vac. I have the metal kind, which is great. The one upgrade that you want to do to your shop vac, if you're using a shop vac, there's actually 2 things I recommend. I will have to add the other one in here, but Right next to it, you'll see this is a high efficiency HEPA filter. You want to have a high efficiency HEPA filter on your DeWalt because you don't want to go sucking up metal dust and it be blowing right back into the room because the filter inside here isn't catching the really fine particulate. And actually what I recommend doing is using a HEPA and inside still using a bag. One, because it keeps your HEPA filter in great condition. It'll practically last you a lifetime because only stuff that actually gets through the bag gets stopped by the HEPA filter, but it keeps just a lot of the big dirt out of this and keeps it really clean. And then you get even more use out of it because these aren't super cheap. They can be about $30 for a HEPA style filter. So I'm still building this out, but I'm going to put the relevant links to some of the videos for some of these things in above. As we continue down here, I have this section is abrasives and polishing. So a lot of you guys have found my polishing videos, and I decided to put all of the stuff that I do when I'm working on polishing things in the same spot just to make it easy because some of these things are a little hard to find. Now, this is 400 grit hook and loop I added this in, but I still have to add the tool in. I have a 2-inch sander that only goes up and back. It's not orbital, which is nice for knives and tools because it doesn't put the little swirl marks in it. As we go to the right here, these sanding blocks are fantastic. They're 1 inch. You can get it with 2 blocks, and you can get all different varieties of this box. I think I only get the 4 variety, but they have multiple ones if you want the additional grits in between. As long as it goes up to 400, I'm happy with that. I like around 200 up through 400. These are great for sanding things down before you use polishing discs on them. If you get things to approximately 400 grit, you're going to get an absolutely beautiful finish when you go to your polishing side. This is a little Milwaukee lithium ion brush finishing sander. It is orbital. I got this mostly for working on wood handles for things, and also for working on acrylic handles for doing fine detail sanding of those. And it's a really fabulous tool. The only downside is you have to get the discs for this still at Home Depot is the only place I know that has them. Amazon does sell the tool, but they, for some reason, don't sell the sanding pads just yet. This is the most amazing finishing random orbital sander you'll ever see. Although I'm sure a Festool is right up there with it. This is a 3M Extract orbital sander, and it is amazing. You can hook a vacuum to it. In fact, you have to run it with a vacuum on it. But it collects all of the junk and dirt and metal and wood. I have refinished a table with this thing inside my house and had no dust go anywhere. They are absolutely amazing tools. So here, we get down to the jewelry buffs, and this is what a lot of you have seen before. I love these jewelry buffers. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Alpavic. Jewelry buffer was the first one I ever bought. It's been great. Came with all this other stuff. I have modified mine so that I can put 3-inch radial discs from Dededco on there. And this is the 3-inch radial disc link. You can click this and go there and pick out the ones that you want. What's so tricky about this, and that's why I added these in, and I don't know why the company does this, but they don't include this part right here. And they also don't have it in the recommended links when you buy these, and they don't even have a picture of these. So I've put them in here to make life easier for everybody. Literally, this took me, I am not kidding you, it took me months to find these stupid things. And I don't know why they don't. I think when they sell you a pack of these, they should include both of these, but they don't. So you need to buy them. They're not expensive. But the reason they're color coded is one is for the left side of your jewelry buffer and one is for the right side. The black is for the right side, the gray is for the left side of your jewelry buffer. Then over here we have 3M Extract, which are Cubitron. Cubitron sanding belts are the greatest ones in the world. We'll talk more about that later. We have down here again 3M Extract. These are also Cubitron style. They're not as fancy as these. These are a lot more durable, but these I actually like for woodworking. These, the ones above it with the bigger purple sections, are fantastic for metal working, and they really hold up well. These are the 2-inch radial discs. So if you want to use them on a Fordham tool or a Dremel tool, you can buy this mandrels on the left here. Now, the one downside is you have to pull all these screws out of these mandrels and replace them with these screws. So you're going to have to buy these and you're going to have to buy these. Now, neither of them are expensive, and then you'll have a bunch of them. You don't want to buy your mandrels through Didedco. Trust me. Just buy the radial disc. If you go to their site and take a look at their mandrels, you'll fall over, because what they want for just one mandrel is obnoxious, and you'll get like 6 of them here for, I think, even less than they charge for one. So don't buy them from Didedco. But if you want to be shocked at something that's way overpriced, go take a look at them. I have been using these for years. They last. I've never had one break. They work perfectly. And these Didedco 2-inch radial discs work and fit perfectly on here, as long as you replace the screw in the middle with an M6 1-inch screw. This will fit right through there. To the right of this, you'll see these are the little Chinese discs that I like to buy. And I will also sometimes buy just the green ones. I don't have a lot of use for some of the finer grits here. Because if I'm doing stuff that's fine, I'm usually using the Didedco stuff. But I do really like these 80 grit ones. I will probably add the link to where you can get just 80 grit. They're fantastic for gardening tools, removing rust, and anytime you don't want to use your expensive Didedco sunburst discs on something like gardening tools, these are really nice. I have some great videos, and did I post the one of me? I did. Recently I did one with a garden tool showing how great these things take rust off. You can check that video out if you want to see it. Let's continue scrolling down. Here's the other jewelry buffer I use. So I have 2 of these, and this one's a little less expensive than the one up above, and it came with less things. So they didn't have as many things, because at this point all I needed, I knew I was going to put Didedco sunburst discs on it, so I didn't need all the other stuff. This is the greatest polisher of all time. The Jet 8-inch variable speed buffer polisher is fully variable speed controlled by this digital gauge here, and it is fantastic. To the right of it, this is the Jet low speed grinder, which I have CBN wheels on mine, and I also have a Kodiak mounting system for grinding that uses Torx jigs on it. So that's what I use this for. It's a low speed. It's not variable speed, so it's just one set speed, but it's about 1700 RPMs, as you can see right here. Then to the right of this, we have a 6-inch Pro Sharpening leather hone. My absolute favorite way to hone stuff. And what do I have mine on? I have it on this right here to the right, a Shopfox variable speed 6-inch grinder that I removed all of this stuff, and I have this on one side, and on my right side I have a paper wheel. I love paper wheels for things that have a little more stubborn burrs that the leather wheel might be struggling with getting off. I will sometimes go to a paper wheel to remove that. And I will try and remember to add the paper wheel in here too, because those are useful to have. As we continue to scroll down here, we then get into hardware parts. So if you start doing knife repairs, it is nice to have rivets. So these are EDC rivets here. I got some black ones. I got some silver ones. These are just metal round rods that are great if you're going to peen rivets into something. So many times you'll have a knife that needs rivets or kitchen knives. And this you just cut to size and then you peen them, which means banging on the ends, and it swells and fattens inside your handle and becomes tight, and that's how that stays in place. These are just very similar, just a little more fancy, and they screw in, and I have used those and they are fantastic. Over here we got cutlery rivets. I use these a lot when I'm fixing rivets in kitchen cutlery, mostly Henkel's and Wusthof style knives. These do also come in silver, so to the right, and I actually use the silver way more. You don't see as many gold ones, but these are push-through style, so you start banging these together and it just squeezes into there. And the main thing you have to do is make sure that there is enough room that it's going to squeeze all the way in, because you don't want to have to take it apart if you can't get it all the way in and it's sticking out of your knife handles. So I have had times where I've had to trim these a little bit, but as long as there's plenty of room, then you just literally tap that in there and it holds great and works great. Then I've added some Texas Knife Makers store. They make some really cool custom mosaic pins, and you can get all kinds of stuff on there. You can get pins with little things on them, kind of, if you guys saw the video I did recently from the knife maker that I recently started working with, sharpening some of his knives. He uses some really cool, beautiful custom pins in his with like golfers and colleges and things like that. These are extra M5 clamps, I think, for the Toolker that I added some more to. You can also use these on the 1x30. This is HoneRight Gold, which is great for using if you're going to use your CBN wheels in water. Also works fine with Tormek if you don't want to buy the Tormek anti-corrosive formula. As we continue down, these are the digital microscopes that I have many videos on that I like to use. I use the Tomlov and I've used a Kanda. I have both of these and I do use both of them. And they are fantastic. The Tomlov, a little more high-end. Last time I checked, it was like $150, but they regularly run sales on them, and currently it's about $20 off of there, so it's probably about $125. When I paid for it, it was close to $188. The Kanda is only around $30, and it's really awesome. You can hold this directly up against the knife. Now, when I'm working on a knife, I always hold it right up against these plastic shrouds. And that makes focusing really easy. And if you haven't watched the video, there's things you want to look for in a digital microscope if you're going to use it for knife sharpening. And this little shrouded area is nice because it would be very difficult to try and hold a knife and have it in focus if you didn't have something to hold it right up against. The other really important features are adjustable LED lighting is super important, and that it has just a good contrast ratio. And these have worked very, very good for me. And let's continue down. And then this is my laser engraver, one of the newest things I added to my shop. And I have a custom enclosure for my laser engraver, and I built a ventilation system for it. And these are extra safety glasses that I got for mine. And this is a fan that I built my vacuum ventilation system for the laser with. So this is a inline fan that sucks the dust and smoke depending on what I'm engraving. Like if I'm doing wood, there's smoke. When I'm doing metal on knives, there's very little smoke, but you do want to get those fumes out because they're not good for you to breathe. and that's why I have this. And I bought this little remote to attach to this so that I don't have to bend down and plug this thing in. I just hit it a little remote, it turns on, and it starts sucking out of the container that the laser is in. This is the size that connects, this is the PVC pipe that connects to this fan. And then my laser, I had to use a reducer because the immediate ventilation coming out of the back of the laser, I have a foil just in case it was to catch a spark from, if I was doing wood engraving, it would hit this first and hopefully blow out before it ever got to the PVC piping. And so I go from laser to the aluminum foil, then PVC, and then outside. And this is just a reducer for it, and this is just clamps for the aluminum hose. And that is pretty much it. And that is what is on these links on my website for you to make finding these things easier. I'm sure this video is probably way longer, but hopefully you guys, if you're interested in it, do sit through it. Now, let's look at one other thing that I want to show you. Back on my channel, there's 4 more links, and I'm just going to show you these 4 more links and then end this. So if you click the 4 more links and scroll down, you get my little bio description, you get where my email is, and then here are the 4 more links that I added. So there's my website. We just went there. You know what that's all about. To the right of it, I have a link to Curry's Custom Cutlery. This goes directly to Cliff Curry's store. Cliff is where I buy all of my custom stuff for belts and where I buy all of my things for upgrading 1x30 machines that I build myself. So if you come to his machine parts section, you'll see Cliff has the custom wheels for your 1x30. Back one. The other thing I get from Cliff are all my sharpening belts. So if you haven't used, or if you're not using Cliff's belts, or definitely if you're using Harbor Freight belts, listen to me. Stop right now. Start buying belts from Cliff. He's in Hawaii. Don't worry about it. He ships fast. He always uses 2-day priority mail shipping. I get things from Cliff faster than I order things from companies that are on the East Coast. I'm in Virginia. I've ordered things from companies like in North Carolina, and Cliff gets them to me faster from Hawaii than companies that are on the East Coast. It just blows my mind, but he ships really fast. My main things I buy from Cliff are Trizac belts. He has the best selection of 1x30 Trizac belts of any place I have found, and the best prices. He also has other sizes too. So if you need 2x42, 2x36, 2x48, you can see he's got them for the work sharp. So if you're using a Ken Onion Elite, you can get the little 1x18 belts from Cliff. He has all of that. So that's a great resource there. The other thing he has are Cubitron belts. Cubitron belts are fantastic. And if you're not using them, you should. And so you can do all kinds of things with Cubitron belts, but they are just the best. I use a lot of 120 grit, and I have done a lot of things with, I've used the 180s. If Cliff runs out of 120s, then I'll use 180s. And I've used 50s on things like lawnmower blades, although I now have a lawnmower blade sharpener, so I don't use them as much anymore. But if you're having to hog off a lot of material off of anything, the 50s and 80s are very useful. These belts last for a really long time. I won't say forever, but they do last a really long time. And just to give you an example, if you're using like a cheap Harbor Freight zirconium belt, you might be able to sharpen 1 or 2 knives with it, and it's done. I change my belts from Cliff once a month, and I sharpen a lot of knives in that month. So I usually buy from Cliff. When I buy from Cliff, I used to buy 6 at a time. Now I'm buying 12. I buy a whole year's worth from Cliff because I just, once a month, no matter what, I change out my belts. My process, some of you probably ask, well, what belt sizes do you get? It is nice to have a nice variety of belts, I will say that. But for me, my process, and you can see it in my other videos, my Trizac belts that I use the most, I use a 600 grit and a 1200 grit. Now, I own 100, I own 200. I don't own 400. I do own 2500. I own the 4000. I don't use those that often, but there are times that I have used them. Mostly it's been working on new knife makers stuff. But in general, for regular kitchen cutlery stuff, I use a 120 Kubatron belt. Then I go to a 600 Trizac and a 1200 Trizac. Then I hone on my leather wheel and I am done. So that's that. So let's go out of here. And let's go back to those other links. I want to show you the other links. So the other links I have here, Woodturner's Wonders is where I get my CBN wheels. So this is the place for CBN wheels for the Tormac. If you want Tormac wheels in CBN, these are the guys to go see. They have this section here, which are Tormac style. The most affordable are these Spartan wheels. Now, recently someone told me that Woodturner's Wonders told them not to use them in water, which they didn't say. We've had them in the guild before, and they didn't say that. And I have been doing it for years, but I'll just say this. They said, oh, there's a chance it could separate from the nylon, is what, and I didn't get this from them directly, but one of my followers said that's what they told him. I will just tell you, I have used mine for several years now in water with no problems. I've never had one separate. I've never had one lose its abrasive material. I use them dry. I use them wet. Doesn't matter to me. They do recommend using anti-corrosive, as I've mentioned before. So if you're concerned at all that might happen, you might want to look to their Tornado wheel, which is all metal. But like I said, I use the heck out of these. I really do. I use them to death. And quite honestly, if mine fell apart tomorrow, I would just order another one. I use them so much. I've gotten so much use out of them. I wouldn't expect them to honor any type of warranty because I have used mine in water. If they weren't going to, if they said, oh, that's not I wouldn't even question it. I would just buy another one and just beat or if it, they don't wear out in a year, but if they wore out in a year, I probably still would just buy another one every year because they're just fantastic. So I get my use out of them, but know that that's apparently what they're now saying. So just take that into consideration when you're looking at it. The other thing I love from these guys, which they actually started doing because of me, which was really cool, and they used one of my videos for it, was the Twice as Sharp. I had them custom make this wheel for me, and now they feature this wheel because they've had so many people ask for it. So this is a CBN wheel for a Twice as Sharp scissor sharpener. I have a video out there showing how I use this for gardening tools and also how I use it for regular household scissors. This is what I like to use. I hate aluminum oxide wheels. They throw junk all over your shop. So whenever I can replace something with a CBN wheel, I do it. This is the one thing I do use slick stick on. I don't use it on my Tormac anymore. I did use it for a while, but the Tormac isn't high enough speed to really need slick stick. But the Twice as Sharp is pretty fast, and it does benefit from slick stick. The other thing that I use it on is when I am using my low speed grinder with CBN wheels that I told you about with the Kodiak mounting system. I will use slick stick on that to keep those wheels clean. And the other great way to clean these is with PB Blaster, and I have videos that show you how to do that if you need to see that. So we're back at the site. So here is the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, which I've mentioned many times. I'm one of the hosts there at the Guild. If you want to check out the Guild, click on this link. You can get a free trial to the Guild. The Guild's purpose is to help you be successful in your sharpening business. Now, Matt, who runs the Guild, also teaches sharpening. If you are totally new, it's a great place to start. If you're not new to sharpening, but it's a great place to network with other sharpeners and see what they're doing. And like I said, I am a member in there. I sometimes get to host meetings and fill in for Matt. I run the Tormec users group in there, and I've done several videos for the Tormec users group. That is why I included the link to the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. And the one other link I have in here is Combat Abrasives. Let's click on that. And Combat Abrasives is great. Another veteran-run business. They have some things that I really like, but the one I want to point out to you right now before we end this, these are called J-Flex belts. And they're flexible. And they're really, really cool. And you can see they're not expensive, but Trizec belts don't really bend, and Cubitron belts don't bend at all. But a J-Flex belt can bend. Now, I use these on both my 2x42 and my 1x30, and they are just awesome. They don't last quite as long, but they're for doing certain things, especially when you're working on handles, wood, and you need to get something flexible to get into certain spots. There's nothing like a J-Flex belt, and I love them for that. So that's the main thing I would point out to you over here. The other thing I like from these guys, I'll point out one more thing, buffing products. I like their airway buffs. If you haven't switched to airway buffs, you want to try these things. They are so much superior to the old style buffs that we all use, those big cotton buffs. Now, things that you're going to need a rake. I'm going to say, get this on Amazon. I'll show you where it's way cheaper. This kit is a very nice kit. The only thing I didn't like was, and this is from memory because I'm going back a bit, they give you 3 buffs. They didn't give me enough of these big giant safety flanges for every buff. You can get these on Amazon for 1/3 the price that you're seeing here. So don't worry about these so much. If you need more, I will have a link to where you can get those on Amazon. But these are fantastic. They give you the abrasives with them. I'll point out one other thing. They give you the abrasives for metal. They do have a plastic and wood handle polish that is excellent, and I like to buy that from them as well, so I will use that. That is another thing that I really like from Combat Abrasives. And that is it. I am going to stop this because this is probably so long most of you dropped out already. But for those of you who sat through this to the end, I appreciate it. I hope this helps you guys when you're looking for this stuff, and I'm just going to keep trying adding to it to make it easier for you, but also make it easier for me for answering people's questions. I'm just going to say, hey, go look in on my website from the 4 Sharpeners section. So just a reminder, that was all stuff from the 4 Sharpeners section and the other recommended links that I have posted on my YouTube channel. So have a great day, everybody, and I will catch you later.